This is Kicker News.
International students have their concerns heard about student visas. Prescription glasses get a second life, helping those in need. A food policy expert outlines the implications of the war in Ukraine. Folks at Food First NL show us the benefits of saving seeds, and much more.
Hello and welcome to Kicker News. I'm your host, James Grudich. Well, a few weeks ago, there was a protest in downtown St. John's. International students were trying to draw attention to the difficulties they have with restricted work hours and visas. Kicker Sarah Antle has the story about two international students and the challenges they've been facing. Here's that story.
Of applying for student visas has long been an issue in this province, say Memorial University students Shramona Shurkar and Abdullah Al Masood. Shurkar has been living in Newfoundland for 5 years and Al Masood for 4. And yet, they say the process for applying and renewing visa applications for students have not improved. Shurkar points to MCP applications as one issue that international students face.
When you're applying for medical coverage in Newfoundland, you need your study permit to do that. But your study permit has to be valid for at least a year to apply for an MCP. So if your study permit expires in less than a year, then you cannot apply for an extension with an MCP.
That is a huge deterrent to be in this province because it creates this huge amount of stress. Your health is being jeopardized and you are living with this fear that if something happens to you, you're going to be burdened with this insurmountable amount of debt that it's really going to put you in a precarious situation. You're already, paying 4 times more, you are low on money, you are, working, when you're like working minimum wage, you cannot afford a $2,000 bill on a medical emergency. And this is the fear that people live with.
While working in the province, international students have to be registered as full-time students for at least 2 semesters per year to be eligible to work a maximum of 20 hours per week. Part-time students are eligible to work up to 40 hours. Masood says that this does not give students flexibility during the holidays and the summer, and is not a viable option for students paying their own expenses.
Bit of an issue for students studying here because they assume that they want you to study more, so they'll put a cap on the amount of hours you can work per week, because that's the intention of coming here. However, every student comes here with the intention of working and studying at the same time because they want to be able to pay for their own expense and gain experience in the market while they're studying. And the 20 hours, it's really not a viable option for literally any student out there, whether you're a full-time or part-time student, because the expenses of everyday life go up way a lot more than whatever amount your wages go up by, and the 20 hours just doesn't cut it.
Both Shurkar and Al Masood have felt frustration with the process of applying for visas and renewing their applications. With rising tuition costs, living expenses, and more demand for work in the province, they say that the process is a hindrance to their ability to study and work here comfortably. Sarah Antle, Kicker News.
Well, global food markets have been in a bad place because of the pandemic, leaving millions hungry worldwide. Now an expert says the war in Ukraine is threatening to make that worse before it gets better. I spoke to Dr. Sarah Martin, an expert in global food policy, and to a St. John's resident who's been feeling the higher food costs. Here's what they said.
Experts say that we're already in a global food crisis. Now, the invasion of Ukraine threatens to make that a lot worse.
It's estimated somewhere between 25% and about a third of all wheat exports come from Russia and Ukraine. We have hundreds of millions of people who are very hungry. It's expected that it's going to go up at minimum 10% added to that figure because of the conflict. Even the Russians pulled back right away. We know for a fact that the agricultural infrastructure has been damaged significantly. So what does that mean? It means grain storage. It means that tanks have gone through fields and torn them up. It means that there's armaments in fields. It means that there's toxic waste associated with the armaments. It also means that people aren't available to plant in the spring and prepare fields and harvest potentially, depending on when this crisis ends.
Far from Europe's breadbasket, folks in our province are still feeling the squeeze of higher food prices.
I've noticed a significant increase actually in prices. I shop for items that I buy probably every week, and I see that they're gone up $1 or 50 cents for each product. And when something's only maybe $3 or $4, that's significant.
The last I looked, Newfoundland and Labrador had the second worst rates of food insecurity, the most severe rates of food insecurity across Canada of any province. And so that's a concern. That's a serious concern.
And I find the price of produce, like fresh meat, things like that it's increased quite a bit.
People can't buy things like medicine, they can't pay their rent. And who does this affect? It affects people who are marginalized to begin with.
And the cost of living is increasing in general, and people's wages are not going up to meet that.
It takes political will, in this case by the province, to support folks. But we know what works, and that's giving people money.
Dr. Martin says it's a fool's game to predict, but things could get worse before they get better. For Kicker News, I'm James Grudich.
Well, green thumb or not, Food First NL is here to help you get started with seed saving. The concept is simple. Save the seeds from your garden crops to use in the next planting cycle. The benefits may be more than you think. Here's Chad Fian.
First NL kicked off its 7th annual seed library, a project which educates people on how to save seeds from their own gardens. The seminar was held in the A.C. Hunter Library and was attended by beginner and experienced gardeners looking to expand their gardening knowledge. Sarah Crocker from Food First NL hosted the event.
Seed saving is really important right now. It's been top of mind in terms of food security. Seed saving is really where the majority of our food comes from. Grain crops, vegetable crops all start with a seed. So we're out here today talking about ways that people could get started doing things in their own home gardens as a way of sharing, traditional skills, gaining access to unique varieties of food, and also building resilience and capacity in our local food system.
In addition to lowering gardening costs, saving seed is one way to promote plant diversity and sustainability.
So when we talk about a sustainable food system, it means looking at the environmental, the economic, and as well the social impacts of food. So, we need a food system that works in all those different domains. And so our food system right now, there's a lot of issues with production that's not sustainable in terms of making a living wage in our food system, of the environmental cost of transporting and refrigerating food long distances. So sustainability is really important for our food system.
St. John's resident Reese Patterson feels motivated to start seed saving.
Yeah, definitely I'm motivated. I didn't know if it would be intimidating, even learning the first steps of this, but I think it'll be, in combination with some maybe some online research, I feel like I'll be able to get started pretty well.
For Kicker News, I'm Chad Fian.
Right? Yep. And now for an update with your sports, here's Kicker's own Sarah Danny. Sarah, how about them Blue Jays?
Yeah, James, what a night for Vladdy Guerrero Jr. and the Toronto Blue Jays in the Bronx. The Jays came out on top last night, beating the Yankees 6-4. Not a perfect start, but a much better start from Jose Barrios. He went 5 innings and gave up 3 runs. But all eyes were on the 2021 MVP runner-up, who was picking up where he left off last year. Here's some highlights. Garrett Cole on the mound for the Yankees. Top of the first, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. sends one deep center field.
Looked like it went over the fence, and Vladdy is going to go to second base, and Vladdy thinks it went over the fence as well. Hicks looked like he got his glove on it, but did it go? After review, the call on the field stands. 1-0 Blue Jays. Bottom of the second, Guerrero attempting to make the play at first, but not before getting a spike in the hand from Aaron Hicks. A bleeding hand was nothing for Vladdy. Next at bat, Bichette on second, Guerrero Jr. with his second of the night. Vladdy Guerrero.
Bottom of the fifth, Barrios getting in a bit of trouble, giving up back-to-back home runs to Anthony Rizzo and Aaron Judge. 4-3 Blue Jays in the top of the eighth. The Jays in need of some insurance runs, with who else but Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at the plate. There's the hat trick, his second career 3-homer night. Jordan Romano in for his 27th consecutive save. Vladdy steals the show once again, stealing a hit from Donaldson to end the game. The Blue Jays wrap up their series against the Yankees tonight before heading back to Toronto to take on Oakland. Kevin Gausman will take the mound for the Jays, while Luis Severino will take the mound for the Yankees. First pitch goes at 8:35. In other baseball news, Clayton Kershaw of the Los Angeles Dodgers threw 7 perfect innings yesterday. Kershaw was removed after the 7th inning, recording 21 consecutive outs on 80 pitches. The NBA playoffs get underway this weekend. The Toronto Raptors are in Philadelphia to take on the 76ers. This will be the first time Toronto has been in the playoffs since 2020. In the NHL, only one Canadian team in action last night. The Blue Jackets were in Montreal and beat the Habs 5-1. Speaking of hockey, pro hockey is celebrating its 30th anniversary here in Newfoundland and Labrador. In 3 decades, St. John's has been home to the Maple Leafs, the Ice Caps, and the Newfoundland Growlers. As Kickers Dylan Murphy tells us, the common denominator for most of those years have been General Manager Glenn Stanford.
For 30 years, Glenn Stanford has made a career in the hockey landscape. The former teacher was honored this past Sunday at the Growlers' 30 years of pro hockey.
And now for an update with our weather, here's Kickers Arlette.
James. So let me tell you what to expect in the coming days. First up, today is cloudy at 4 degrees. Later today, it will drop to -1. There shouldn't be any rain, but the wind will be felt at 34 kilometers an hour. So it's a chilly day. Tomorrow, winds don't change much, staying at the same speed, but the sun will come out. Only just a little bit. Degrees will rise back to 4 degrees. And then to summarize the weekend, Saturday and Sunday will have high temperatures, with the highest being 12 degrees on Saturday, which sounds great for a walk, but don't forget to take your umbrella because it will rain throughout the weekend all the way through Monday. And that's your weather forecast. Back to you, James.
Arlette. Well, the Newfoundland's Lions Clubs have been operating the Recycle for Sight program for years, in which used eyeglasses are collected, processed, and sent to those in need. This program has helped Newfoundlanders improve their vision, as well as getting glasses to third world countries. Last week, the chair of the Mount Pearl Lions, Gerald Coombs, hit a big milestone while collecting these eyeglasses. Kickers Josh Hodder has that story.
The Lions Club Recycle for Sight program has aided the less fortunate across the globe for years. In 2016, the club started the eyeglass plant in Bishop Falls Correctional Facility. Here, the glasses collected through donation bins will be processed for prescription and shipped to third world countries. Gerald Coombs, the chairman of the Mount Pearl Lions Club Committee, has hit a personal milestone.
Last week, I did a collection when I reached a goal of 25,000 pairs of used eyeglasses collected. I was quite pleased with that. This is my 50th year as a Lion, so I'm getting a lot of milestones this year.
Bradley Moss is vision coordinator for the medical charity Team Broken Earth and a member of the Lions Club. With the Lions Club, Moss has helped in many collaborations with Team Broken Earth, including several donations to the Gathering Place, as well as an overseas trip to Haiti.
So they had been going for about 5 years, and so we decided that our first pilot vision mission would be bolted on to one of their medical missions. So we traveled with doctors, nurses, surgeons, and I brought a couple of optometrists and some Lions Club members with me, and that's how we've been running it. Basically, traveling with these larger medical groups and running the eye clinic as part of the overall mission.
The Lions Club has given sight to those who can't afford it. This project means the world to those who need eyeglasses, but it means just as much to the Lions.
For me personally, it's one of the most meaningful projects I've been involved with in my time in Lions. It means a lot to me personally.
With Kicker News, I'm Josh Hodder.
In arts and entertainment news, Gilbert Gottfried, the comedian best known for his iconic voice, has died at age 67. After a long bout of myotonic dystrophy, he leaves behind a grieving family and legions of fans who adored his crass, uncompromising brand of humor. Cuba Gooding Jr. pleads guilty to kissing a waitress without consent in a New York nightclub in 2018. Accused of violating 3 women in 2018 and 2019, the actor has pleaded guilty to one of the allegations. He will avoid jail time and can plead guilty to a lesser charge if he attends 6 months of counseling. Switching over to local events, Beatles cover band Beatles for Sale take the stage at the Rock House tonight with over 3 hours of pure Beatlemania. Expect fan favorites and deep cuts. Tickets are available at Fred's Records and at the door. ECMA nominees Virginia Fudge and King Sway are appearing at the Black Sheep on George this Saturday to celebrate their nominations. Synthpop veteran It Could Be Frankie will also be performing before she leaves for Fredericton to promote her upcoming album. After a long pandemic hiatus, punk is slowly but surely returning to St. John's. This Friday, the Peter Easton Pub features a wide roster of new and familiar bands. The show starts at 9. With world events seeming so heavy, some folks just need to get out and have a laugh, or try and give some. The organizers of Downtown Comedy have made it a mission to keep amateur stand-up alive in St. John's throughout the pandemic. James Grudich went to one of their open mic nights to talk to the organizers. Some jokes landed while others flopped. Here's the story.
All right, more enthusiasm. How everybody feeling today? I'm sorry I put us through that.
I'm Sumbene. I'm 1/3 of the showrunners of Downtown Comedy and a local comedian.
I am also 1/3 of the runners, Sarah Walsh and local comic. So basically you, but the girl and Sarah.
Cool, going from there. It was an uncomfortable laugh and I'll take it.
Like all performers, the pandemic got in the way of what they do. but they couldn't stay away for long.
It was weird. It was weird being away from people. It's good to be back. Good to be back with people again. Yeah, because this is a cry for attention. You can't get attention alone.
The way I danced without you.
Sometimes getting an audience is tough. Sometimes getting a lineup is tough. Sometimes both are. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's an open mic. You get to share your thoughts that you've been thinking in your head and not being able to talk to anybody for a year and a half.
I get a lot of Catholics. I mean, I can only assume so because of the beads. But
Super cool to watch, especially when it doesn't bite you on the ass.
Yeah. There's been times where, you give somebody a chance. There's no interview beforehand, but you know, but the times that it does pay off is worth it.
But I feel like Catholics being attracted to me is like the religious equivalent of daddy issues.
You know, when somebody gets to see how addicting making other people laugh is, just from your thoughts, it's a nice thing. Sometimes a scary thing.
How's everybody doing? We still got energy? We still have fun? Woo! Yeah.
Yeah, without laughter, I don't know, man. Yeah, laughter helps everything. People grieve in different ways, but laughing is a good one.
Well, yeah, like you pointed out that this is therapy for a lot of people, like very, very inexpensive therapy. 'Cause it's kind of a weird way to, you know, a lot of people, myself included, kind of make jokes about the really hard stuff because it's their way of, I guess, working it through in their own mind.
You know, my dad was a criminal, and he worked for some mafia, we'll just say.
And then you have audience members that relate to that, or they just need to laugh at something that isn't current events, because this has been a very eventful 3 years.
That's been my time. Please give it up for the absolutely wonderful Sarah Walsh, everybody.
Keep it going for Stephen Mannion! Keep it going for the 150 comedians that you saw this evening!
For Kicker, I'm James Scrutich.
Well, we'll wrap things up today with a tune from a CNA alumnus. On any given weekend, you can find singer-songwriter Derek Graham singing and playing his tunes downtown. Derek is a graduate of CNA's Applied Music program. Here he is singing his song, Be Without You.
So this song I'm going to play is by a friend of mine. We play it together, actually, as a group. But Baraka is a songwriter from Tanzania. He is an artist under the name of Phyllis Getta. And this is a song he wrote called Be Without You. It's one that we play quite frequently in an ensemble. But I'm going to try and do it justice for him. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Hey little mama from the 6, you thinking make a player, be thinking you're shooting bricks. Steady catching feelings instead of needing a fix. So come a little shorty, I promise there ain't no tricks, yeah. Said you make a man go the distance. You're playing hard to get a brother, gotta be persistent. Said you got a man who always pop in the sand, but you need to settle down with the brother who'll be different. I'm taking down my defenses, hanging up the jersey, dropping the false pretenses. Up the door in the white picket fences. I gotta hold you tight, time should feel a little endless. Yeah. Baby girl, I got you. I don't wanna be without you. Girl, I pray to God about you. You're the only one I want you. Baby girl, I got you. I don't wanna be without you. I forgot about you. I want you. I see you all the time and you look tight. You got me feeling like I ain't been living life right. And the way that you walk is amazing, moving that booty around and believing her brother Daisy. And I don't mean to be cliche, but baby, you're my Lois Lane. Let me be your Superman. Let me save your day. And I know you can do it alone, girl, but I would be a fool to let you. Oh, na 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 na, na 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 na, na 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 na. Baby girl, I got you. I don't wanna be without you. You're the only one I want you. You're the only one I want you. Baby girl, I got you. I don't wanna be without you. Girl, I pray to God about you. You're the only one I want you. Baby girl, I got you. I don't wanna be without you. Girl, I pray to God about you. You're the only one I want. You.
And that does it for today's show. Thanks for joining us here on Kicker News, and that does it for this semester. I'm your host, James Grudich, and I'm out.